All right, can anybody's confirm from your end that you can see my screen now?
I can see it.
Sir Jamie, can you confirm that you can see the intro of my slides?
Yep.
All right, all good. All right, let's start. So this is your very own Intro to Car Hacking Village PH 101. It's some sort of an introduction to what Car Hacking Village PH or Car Hacking Village is, which started in Rootcon 13. So it will be Jamie or Emanon and I, Shipcode. They'll be talking more about the village that we have here in the Philippines. So, what is Car Hacking Village PH? Uh, Car Hacking Village PH or Philippines or Rootcon CHV is blessed by the elders of the main CHV or Car Hacking Village community. And as what you can see, we were acknowledged there in the About page. And I'm sorry for the roosters that you can hear right now. They're always in my background in other conferences as well, in other virtual hacking conferences. They
It's a
made
trademark.
yeah, they made an appearance in Bug Crowd Level Up, in HitCon, no, in some Indian hacking conference as well. So this was launched in 2019 and appeared for the first time in Rootcon 13. So this was last year. And then with Rootcon's recovery mode activated, CHVPH will be conducting workshops and will be giving talks about automotive security and basic diagnostics this year. So it's more about tips and tricks on how to fix or how to tweak your car, and also how to create your own bench for car hacking. The primary goal of the Car Hacking Village is to build a community around discovering weaknesses and
Sorry, I think we've missed Jay for a while. Jay, are you there? Your audio's off. I think you're on mute. I think Jay's on mute. Anyway, just checking if it's my connection or Jay's.
no, someone unmuted me during my talk.
Oh, someone get to mute you while you're talking. All right. Anyways, let's get back to it. So, yeah, we're actually on the primary goal of Car Hacking Village. Yes, it's building around putting together the community, discovering weaknesses, and exposing vulnerabilities that could significantly impact the safety and security of all drivers and passengers on the road today. So that's one of our intents, right? Primary intentions on why we're building the car hacking village.
Yeah. Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
it's one of the panelists that we have. Maybe they just push something, but right now it's okay. All right.
The wonders of technology.
Yeah. Okay. Next is, and every year we have something new. So basically, something new for today is that we are virtual, of course. And then we have new members, and then we have special guests from Singapore that will be presenting their talk, which will be on October 9 in the evening. And then next year, we are planning to bring an actual car and also present our car in a box. We had some instrument clusters last year, but supposed to be we will be having a car in a box for this year. But we believe that we will do justice if we present it next year, so that it's interactive and also to showcase really how to tweak your car and also how to reverse engineer it. especially the CAN bus protocol. So thanks to Jeff, he will be helping us with bringing an actual car who is one of our new members.
Please, please do not hit the car. It's his own car that he's bringing in.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
how generous this guy is.
Yeah. Unlike DEFCON, we will not be hitting the actual car. We will be hacking it, but not hitting or destroying it. Okay.
Please do not break the car.
Yeah. And then how far we've come, this was last year. We have our instrument clusters. We taught people how to interact with the CAN. Basically, having an instrument cluster is one of the greatest way to practice how to reverse engineer the CAN bus protocol. And then Jamie, he had fun with how to turn it on. Actually, he was the grease monkey of this project, and I was the canvas guy for this project. And then
Yep.
we also
So
have,
it was definitely a good practice for both of us. I would say. Would
yeah,
you agree?
yes, I do. And then we also have our own virtual instrument cluster that we have. We used a Craig Smith's software that we run on a Ubuntu Linux. And then we also have an ECU simulator, a hardware-based ECU simulator, wherein we try to interact with the UDS messages from the ECU. And then our friends from India, Arun Mani and Nikhil Bogem, brought their own anomaly detections system, or ADS, which allows you to get an idea on how to trigger anomalies on a car and then create an alert for it. So basically, how it works is that, for example, you send a normal ECU CAN messages or UDS messages into the ECU. Now, if someone spoofs the UDS messages on a different time or a different log time, it will try to alert you with this kind of POC or proof of concept. So, yep, we had fun, and then it was really a great work for Jamie in being able to power up the clusters that we have. And actually, the two clusters that we have are from Mazda 2, not my own Mazda 2, but it's from a broken car, a newly broken car. And then we also have a PG207. It was Vincenet who brought me that one. And then Nickel Bogem brought also an instrument cluster paired with the ADS. I forgot what's the brand of the instrument cluster that they have, because it's not that familiar to me, but um, came all the way from India. So they also presented their topics actually. All right, so here is our main inspiration. I was actually the one who took the photo. This was from DEFCON. Our main inspiration really is from the car hacking village in DEFCON. And we actually want to have this in Rootcon. So we, from time to time, Jamie and I and the new village members, we actually recruited new members, two of them, and we are building our own car in a box. So next year, we hope to showcase it, and then pretty much like the same POC from the left picture. And from the right picture, you can see a couple of ECUs and also a couple of microcontrollers that are trying to send messages in the ECU. And this was used during the DEFCON CTF for the car hacking village. So if you want to donate, or if you want to give us your old car parts, please reach out to me or Jamie. So Jamie, do you have any thing to
Yeah, of
say
course.
to our?
We're showing everyone this because again, not only that we're asking them for donations, but what our goal, part of our goal, is to deliver the same experience of having a car in a box, making sure that the research for car hacking village in the Philippines would be full blown. That we won't be showing you just parts per parts on how it works and how to test for vulnerabilities, but instead we wanted to provide them with the full experience. And we would love for them to toy around with it, given that it's already there.
Yep.
So pretty much that's all I could add on this slide. It's again about the experience of our attendees.
Yeah. But currently, we actually have a Mazda 6 ECU kit as well. We haven't uh, played with it for a while yet because of COVID. And we also have a
Yep.
BMW ECU kit. So it's a surprise for
We have an
attendees next year.
invisible BMW.
Yeah. So basically, we don't have
Correct.
the
We have an
engine for
invisible
it.
BMW.
We don't have an engine for it, but we have the required parts to log the messages sent by an ECU from BMW and also Mazda 6. And also, we also have their own instrument clusters. So next year, for sure, we can have it because we just added 2 new guys as well to the CHV family in the Philippines. Then this was last year. Just highlight. So we appeared in the national television, uh, ABS-CBN. Um, it it tears me up because they are gone right now, and it's on a documentary. I think it's Hacker or Baby Hacker, and then together with other Rootcon goons because of Mon Liklikan's interview in ABS-CBN. So we had a workshop about car hacking 101 last year, and we also taught people how to attack or hack an infotainment, and also the common attack surfaces of a connected vehicle and CAN bus hacking 101. So this was the main showcase that we have last year, and also the workshop that we have. We invited speakers from India, and then the speakers from India also gave a talk about their ADS in the main tracks. So I hope they will be back next year. I've talked to him, and he said that he will be back. He will be back next year after COVID. So we also handed out NanoCan PCBs to some attendees for free. Basically, for NanoCan, as long as you have NanoCan PCB, you can already build your own car hacking tool for just $5. All you need is an Arduino Nano and an MCP2515, which is a microcontroller CAN module. So if you hook it up with CAN high and CAN low wires of the car, you can already send messages to the car. And then, yep, we did share some awesome CHV stuff with our friends at Women Who Code Manila. So we taught them about our project as well and how to send messages through the CAN protocol. And it was actually Jamie and I who went to Women Who Code Manila, and it was held in Atlassian's
BGC.
office. Yeah,
Yeah.
Atlassian's office in BJC. And also we had some appearances in some international conferences. So for this year, we were at DragonCon, besides Myanmar, Nalcon, Sarcon, Background Level Up, and also at OWASP Seaside. So Aaron Money and I gave a talk or a training for OWASP Seasides about car hacking. OWASP Seasides is in Goa, India. And first of all, I would like to give shout outs to the Red Team Village by ABX. They will be talking tomorrow about red teaming. So they have awesome tracks, and that's where I met them this year in Nalcon. And also Aaron Money also for inviting us and for giving us encouragement on what to do with car hacking. And now we are still recruiting more members for our family, the CHV family. And Yeah, we are open for new members who are car enthusiasts and hackers. And as what you can see from the panelists, we actually have two new members. We have Jay Celis or Jillian Celis and also Jeffrey Dimaano. They will also be speaking this year for the recovery mode. So stay tuned later on. They will be talking about um, how to become a car mechanic and also how to tweak your car. Okay. And I know that most of you guys want to start car hacking. And in fact, we got a lot of people who gave us good feedbacks about the showcase that we have last year. And also people asking where to start. So I would say that the best book that you could ever buy or you could read online is The Car Hacker's Handbook by Craig Smith. He was our keynote speaker during Rootcon 12. So he was wearing a Barong Tagalog, and Jamie is actually, it turns out he is a bigger fanboy than me. So can you tell about your experience, Jamie, with Craig Smith?
It was great. So the experience was quite personal for us because, believe it or not, the way we started with car hacking village in the Philippines is Jay bringing the car hacker's handbook coming from DEFCON, sharing it with me and Sir Semprix. You know, like college kids were in. We had to have a copy. We're not satisfied with the digital copy. We wanted to flip onto the pages, so we had a copy for ourselves. And then Craig Smith coming in, uh, we picked him up in the airport. The wife's really nice, and then all the way to the talk during DefCon. Sorry, during RootCon. It was a surreal experience. I know we don't geek out that much, but it was a surreal experience. We've learned a lot from him. We've asked him for advice on how to build our test benches. We laid out our plans on how we wanted to do it, how we wanted it to work for our research, and he was able to walk us through. That definitely a really good experience. So hopefully we could have him again soon. Maybe this time for aviation security or something.
Yeah, I mean he actually he was also fun thing or fun fact. I was at Nalcon this year as well, and I was shocked that Craig Smith came to my talk and he said that I didn't know that you still use the module that I've actually built for Metasploit. And I said, yeah, I've actually made one module for the hardware bridge for Metasploit about it. And he said that I didn't know that some guys are still using it. And I said, it's really, for me, it's really a good tool because it allows you to give you a knowledge, or it gives you a great POC on like how to pop the airbags of the car, how to do, I mean, how to reset your ECU, or also how to send CAN messages to the car using Metasploit. And then I tried to like, do a man in the middle on the attack by dumping the CAN messages sent by Metasploit. And that's where I learned as well. So Craig Smith is really uh, an awesome guy. And if you can go to his repo, in his GitHub repo, you can see some of the awesome tools that he have written. And the PDF version for car hacking, the Car Hacker's Handbook, is actually free. So you can see from your screen right now the link. It's actually free. But if you want to get the physical copy, you need to buy it from Amazon or other bookstores. I'm not sure if it's in National Bookstore. I think not. But if you get a chance to go to DEFCON or other hacking conference, they usually sell this book. We actually have one copy, and we got the signature of Craig Smith on it.
Yeah, and the book itself, we're we're not being paid by the author himself. No, for promoting this, we're not being paid for it, but we're highly promoting the book because, like, how should I say this? It's very helpful. Even noob would be able to understand the content of that book. The walkthroughs are very very efficient. It's something that you should really check out.
Yeah, I agree. Now, moving on, let me just go through to the car hacking resources. The first link that you have is the NanoCan. You get source code from there, and under github.com/Rootcon Labs, we also have car hacking sketches for the NanoCan. So I've written some sketches on how to fuzz your instrument cluster for Mazda 2 and also for PG207. And then the real author, Mincenet, who will be speaking in the main tracks. Um, he is one of our main track speakers this year. So he has written a fuzzer as well for his project. So you need to check out his repo. And then if you want to get started with CAN utils, which is an open source repo for interacting with a CAN using command line tools, you need to go to carhackingvillage.com/getting minus started. So it's it's a good start for you to learn about CAN bus. And then Mintonet or Ian Tabor also has a YouTube video that talks about how to fuzz the CAN bus. And then there's also a curated list of awesome resources, books, hardware, software, applications, people to follow, and more cool stuff about vehicle security or car hacking, and how to tinker with the functionality of your car. So it's under Jared the Coder/awesome vehicle security. So you need to check out this repo as well. It also from that repo you can also see some talks that are published online. And then of course you can't miss out the Car Hacking Village videos from DEFCON. They've recorded the videos from DEFCON, so you can just skim through it or watch it. And then also, if you are in a hacker conference, don't forget to visit its Car Hacking Village. Or right now, a lot of virtual hacking conferences have car hacking villages as well. Um, like for example, Nalcon, Hardware IO, and also Hack the Box. In fact, Hack the Box Singapore have its own car hacking village, which is organized by Div Zero's Car Security Quarterly, which is led by Alina Tan. She is also one of our speakers on October 9. So it's still under the Car Hacking Village tracks. And then I would like to plug some tool that is new for car hacking. CMAP, it's called CMAP, Open Source Vehicle Services Mapping Tool. It's basically like Carrying Caribou, but it's under heavy development and much more updated right now. CMAP is written by Carfucker or Robert Leal. He is the founder of the Car Hacking Village. Then, Emanon, it's your time up.
All right. So for additional tips, of course, if we know the technical side of the ECU and how to work out the can high and can low or the canvas codes, we need to know the manifestation or how it works. Uh, Additional tips would be learning how to read a car wiring diagram and able to power up, the bunch of parts that you're getting from the junkyard and using for your testing or test benches. And then there you could find it in YouTube. Watch a couple of videos there on how to read the wiring diagram, or you could source for other websites that provides you with the wiring diagram for the certain brand of or specs that you're working with. One website that was very efficient on my end when I was trying to power up the parts was automotive-manuals.net. They have it for different brands. Now, one of the best things that you should learn how to use a multimeter. Later on, I'd be thanking the guy who taught me how to use it because it's very efficient. Learn where to search for the micro fuses of the parts and able to power up the parts. Even for even for the ECUs, you need to know where to probe because it might short or it might cause shortage in terms of electricity because somehow it retains electricity. You don't want to be buying parts and then just putting them to waste because you didn't know how to use multimeter to test it out. And then never miss out which is a can high and can low in your car parts. It's the most important part. It is actually what sends the signal uh, to your ECU and the ECU signal going back to the part, uh, telling them what the part is supposed to do. So without knowing that, I don't think your venture or your experiment would work.
Yep. And to add that, CAN also runs on the Airbuses that we have for airplanes right now. And also, just to add, it's not just CAN that's used as a protocol for cars. There's also CAN-LIN, and also there is also FlexRay that's also being used um, for car hacking. And then aside from that, here's an additional tip when you are in a car hacking bug bash or engagement. One of the best tools that I really like because it's very simple and also because it is written in Python 3 and it's very light. It's uh, it's one of the tools that I use for fuzzing the UDS and then also for um, you know discovering the attack surfaces of a car. So carrying Caribou is one of the best tools that I could recommend. It's open source. And then you could also send any of these frames from the dirty side. So OBD2 or from the infotainment system. And then, this is one of the bypasses in a system. So if you can send the scan frames from an OBD2 or from the infotainment system, it is considered as a P1 or a critical vulnerability. And it's also considered as a broken auth or secure gateway bypass because right now cars have SGW or firewalls. So SGW or security gateway is a term in automotive industry for firewalls in cars. So how do you know if it's successful? You should have a positive reply from the frame, which is 025101 from a certain ID. So negative responses starts with 0 times 03. So as a reminder, these two frames actually do ECU hard resets. And when you say car hacking bug bash, it's actually an event wherein we invite car hackers to hack cars. So because I work in bug crowd, so that's why I have some knowledge on how to prepare a car hacking bug bash. Anyways, that's just additional tips that we have. So the topics this year, of course, this is currently going on. So Car Hacking Village PH 101. And then we have You Are Also a Car Mechanic by J Jack or Jay Celis. He is one of our new members of the CHVPH. And then we have A Modern Day Tweaking Your Ride by Jeff D or Jeffrey DeMano. He is also one of a new member for CHVPH. And then we have the last track for Car Hacking Village, The Tale of Two Benches by Pacey, Alina, and Edmund. So these guys are from Division Zero's Car Security Quarterly, not quarter, quarterly. Pacey, Alina, and Edmund, it's really an honor for them to be here at Rootcon. They've done a lot of car hacking workshops in Singapore, and in fact, I've met them last year in DEFCON. So um, don't forget to miss their talk on October 9 in the evening. So, yep, we would like to thank the Car Hacking Village, the main village, Robert Lil, aka Carfucker, that's his Twitter handle, and um, real handle. So for it's like uh, it's like ship code and then J Turla, that's my name, but that's his actual handle. And then we also have Ian Tabor, aka Mintonet, and then of course our godfather of Rootcon, the founder of Rootcon, Dax Labrador, aka Semprix, for supporting us and also for giving us time to encourage us in promoting Car Hacking Village. We would also like to thank Techmaker UA and Twitter for the tools and inspiration for car hacking. They gave me one canvas tool which is really fast, and also uh, they will give me another prototype soon. And then Jamie, your friend, you'd like to give honors? Sir Emanon, are you still there? All right, I think he is gone, but we would like to thank Alex Orca for teaching us how to use a multimeter. And then we also like to acknowledge Ahmad's or Dark Packet for his anti-theft skills and security guard duties during Rootcon. So because of him last year, none of the tools that we have were stolen during Rootcon 13. So thank you, Ahmads, for being a good security guard during Rootcon. He's one of the goons, by the way. So if you have any questions, do let me know. Just chat it. So that's our very own Pinoy Filipino driver doing bunking. So if you have any questions about our topics this year, do let me know. So let me stop my screen. Okay. So yes, do we have questions? Let me try to check. All right. So I think we don't have questions, but we still have maybe 3 minutes for question and answers about the Car Hacking Village. Please type in your questions. Don't be shy. Okay, we don't have any questions. So let me, Jay. So all right. There's one question. Jay, can you give them a rundown of the cheapest way to gear up and start car hacking? Yes, that's actually an interesting question, Jenny. The best thing, the best way to get started with car hacking is to go to eBay, visit eBay, and then type in ECU kits. So if you want to start reverse engineering a sample canvas protocol, you can buy an instrument cluster for just $25. So that's how cheap it is. And if you want to buy the whole ECU kit, which are used ECU kits, it costs like $100 or $125 in eBay. And they ship it in the Philippines. Okay. In fact, when I got my BMW ECU kit, the box was from Mac Pro, and I thought I was having a Mac Pro being shipped to me, but when I opened it, it was the ECU kit for BMW. That's really an interesting question. And in fact, starting with car hacking or building your own test bench, the CHV from Singapore will be actually teaching you guys or giving a talk about it. So Sermon said that, Sir Jay, what's your beauty regimen? Uh, I eat I eat 2 eggs every day. Okay. Next question. What's the car brand best to start with? Uh, that's actually a tricky question. It depends actually. So I think for me, starting with it, the best car brand to start with is a PG207 with its instrument cluster, or Mazda. Mazda has a lot of parts that you can buy from your Mazda store, or what you call it, casa. So you can actually buy some of their parts as long as you give uh, the mechanic some money. So you can buy some of the infotainment from there. So have you tried in your actual car? Yes, I've actually tried my own Mazda, and I was able to pop shell on the infotainment system. And then for Toyota Hilux, I was able to use a P1 dashboard in order to uh, sniff the CAN bus. And then there's also another question. Do you think car hacking will become widely relevant in the Philippines in the next 3 to 5 years? I believe so. I think it will really be relevant because we have uh, connected cars right now, and in the market, there are a lot of Filipinos buying cars. That's why it's very traffic here in the Philippines. So for car hacking, I think the next few in the next few years, maybe we'll have VAPT for cars. And in fact, car hacking bug bashes, um, you know, it's still in the States, but maybe if we have more car hackers squashing bugs for some car manufacturers, they could actually, maybe they would reach out to Filipino car hackers. So there's another question. I have a spare Megasquirt version 3. How can I start with that and use it with a cluster? Um, I've actually have not used it, but Sir Jay Sellis and Sir Jeff knows about Megasquirt. We've talked it yesterday. And Sir Jay Sellis, maybe do you have any information, or Sir Jeff, maybe do you have answers for this question? Because I haven't tried with Megasquirt yet.
Hello? Yes.
Yes?
Hello. If you have a mega squirt, I guess you have to identify to which car you're gonna install it, and then find a wiring diagram of the mega squirt, and then compared it with the stock diagram. From there, you can pin out the connection of mega squirt to your car.
All right. Yeah, that answers the question. So, all right. Next is scan a requirement for car hacking? It's not really a requirement, but if you want to, it's one of the most widely used protocol. So basically, if you dig into the CAN bus reverse engineering, you can unlock some of the secrets of the car. So, but it's not a car hacking is not just about CAN bus hacking. It's also about IoT hacking and um, hardware hacking. Because take for example, the infotainment system. It runs on Linux, and for you to be able to pop a shell for that, you need to know about IoT hacking. So yep, that answers it. And then, will car hacking be extended to motorcycles as well? Yes, we have a main track talk that will be talking about how to reverse engineer the CAN for motorcycles, because motorcycles especially especially if it is a fuel injected system. It allows you to um, play with the ECU on it. So is this about initially connecting into OBD2? It's not just OBD2. So OBD2 is one of the standard surfaces for a car. So basically for OBD2, right now, they are trying to like sandbox it or putting a protection against it. Because if you can flash the firmware, or I mean, do an ECU hard reset on a car using OBD2, and then there's a firewall on it, uh, basically that's a vulnerability because they right now it has SA or security access if you try to interact with the UDS message for it. Have you tried hacking the wireless key? Yes. You actually need a HackRF and also um, you know, something that allows you to call this capture the signal from it. But this is kind of tricky right now because of rolling codes. So it doesn't work in most cars right now. But there is a way called roll jam attack. So yeah, for roll jam attack, you need to DOS, or you need to jam the key that was sent, and then you reuse it. So that's a roll jam attack. Samicom Car has a good video about it for roll jam attacks. Is car hacking similar to a VAPT? Um, I actually can't answer it, but somehow it is if you're you have an engagement for it. But usually right now, there are bug bashes for car hacking. And then there are also bug bounties related to car hacking. So if you go to bugcrowd.com, sorry for promoting, but bugcrowd.com/FCA, you can see it there. And for HackerOne, JM is one of their client.
Jay, we have a couple of questions more from the chat. Jenny is asking us to give them a rundown of the cheapest way to gear up and start hacking. So what's...
Yeah, I've already answered that question, actually. Yeah, I've already answered that one.
Okay. DevNal also has a question. Are hybrid or electric cars more hackable than, I guess, traditional cars?
It depends on the attack surface, but because it has more attack surfaces, basically it is. But you know, it's not just about hacking the can, or also try to opening its doors. There is also another attack being discussed right now for battery management system, for BMS. Take for example for most electric car, if you could actually increase the amperage for the battery management system, you can actually break your car. So that's actually injurious, and also it could destroy your car. And we are trying to discuss about how to add a custom battery pack for a car. So that's actually considered a vulnerability right now. Right now, the project that I have is actually reviewing an ISO 21431, which is rated to vehicle security, and I'm just scanning through the notes for it, and there's a lot of things that are being discussed in the car hacking community or automotive security. So to sum up the question, yes, we've actually tried to hack our own cars, and it doesn't go well sometimes.
Jay, I have a question. What's the worst that can happen if you try?
If you what?
If you make a mistake, what's the worst that can happen?
One example is being able to shut down the headlamp okay, it is injurious to health or injurious, to the driver. And also popping up the airbags. So that's also injurious to the driver. So from there, we could consider that as a critical vulnerability because it harms the driver or the user.
Right. How about bricking the car? Is there a big chance to brick your own car if you try this in your your own family car?
Yes, it's possible. So that's why you need to read on the diagnostics for the car.
Is there a way to like re-flash the firmware, something like that, once you
Yes,
brick your car?
that's right. Jeffrey DeMano will be talking about it. How
Okay,
to
cool.
tweak and reflash the firmware of the
It's good to
ECU.
know.
Right. There's also another question. Do you need to be physically close to the car or can this be done through the net? Automotive internet uh, is the future right now. And also through telematics, there is a way to be able to connect through your phone to turn on your car. So yes, it can be done. Is there any virtual ODB to practice? You mean OBD? So virtual OBD to practice. If you want to, I think the question here is there a virtual way in order to simulate with a CAN bus protocol? Um, Craig Smith has an open source tool called Virtual Instrument Cluster. So it's called ICSIM, I mean, and you can just download it for free.
Right, maybe two more questions.
Right? Two more
Right.
questions.
Ian asked if there are like people who do online courses for such, because there are some people who love to follow modules or courses. So um, he also wants to know what the skill set is needed for something like this.
All right. First of all, for skill set, I would answer the skill set. You just need basic Linux skills and also hardware skills and as well as basic electronics. So that's really needed. And you don't need to be physically connected to the car, okay? There's telematics and also you don't need to be inside the car for you to hack it, okay? And then, yes, Sir Jamie is back.
How about online courses that something you can follow like module per module?
All right, for online courses, there are virtual conferences that actually talks about car hacking. Hardware.io is talking about is having tracks about car hacking as well, and sometimes I give talks as well in other virtual conferences, and then some of the conferences that I could say that have car hacking are Hack in the Box, and then DEFCON, also Hardware.io, and they have virtual appearances right now.
Yeah, I guess based on the questions that we hear, I think it's mostly how to get people started. It's the barrier of entry. So if this was a live Rootcon, Jay and Jamie would have all the gear in front of you to try.
Yes, next year if COVID is gone, we will bring an actual car.
Yeah, I'm sure that will be very interesting. Like next year, there will be an actual car for you guys to try out.
Yes.
I guess, guys, I guess that's it. There are no more questions coming in as well. Excited to hear the next talks about the car hacking though.
Yes, Sir Jamie, take it. Are you who's the next host for this?
Hello? Sorry,
Okay.
I don't know if I'm already on.
You're good,
Yes,
we can hear you.
it's good to hear you again.
Perfect. That was quite a struggle getting back on. I think it's my network. This was my fear when we were starting the conference this afternoon. But happy to be back. Sorry I wasn't able to join the Q&A, but I'm pretty sure you guys are left with good hands. We've got Jerwin, of course, supporting us on that bit. Thanks, Jerwin, for supporting us. Uh, yes, for the next part, I believe it was mentioned already by Ship Code a while ago on who our speakers would be, but to provide a formal introduction, he's an experienced automotive technician, a mechanic of different brands of automobiles, and a cybersecurity enthusiast at the same time. Uh, a walking wrench with hacker's mindset combined with his interest, which lies in vulnerabilities of automotive systems. Ladies and gentlemen, he's also known as J Jack. Help me welcome to talk about you being also a car mechanic, Jay Ellis.
All right, sir. Good evening. Can any wait, sir? I'm having trouble with the internet. Can you hear me, Sir Jamie? Hello.
Definitely, yes, I could hear you.
Okay. Okay, we're good. All right. So, wait. Okay. Let me enlarge my. Oops. Wait. Okay. Sorry for this. I'm not yet familiar with Zoom. Okay. Okay. Okay, sir. Can you see my screen now, Sir Jamie? Sir Jay?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, without further ado, um, so my talk is about you are also a car mechanic. So anyone here can also be a car mechanic. So that's the good news. Okay, and nowadays cars are also considered a necessity. In our lifetime, it is a privilege to learn how to drive one and a choice to know how to fix and maintain your own. So this talk will help you understand the basics of an automotive system and how you'll be able to find courage to try and fix your own. So the fundamentals of engine, under chassis, and transmission, or in short, EUT. Yeah, it's kind of, it doesn't sound right, yeah? And here's a sample photo of me 5 years ago when I was doing carbureted engines. And who am I? 12 years experience in the automotive industry as an automotive mechanic technician of different brands, doing home service as a mechanic during my spare time. It can be full-time sometimes, depends on the schedule. Race car driver, that was in the past. And also project manager and IT consultant for private companies, preferably software development companies. Also cyber security enthusiast. And 20 years and counting active golfer. I played a lot of golf, but unfortunately, it's we're on a lockdown. I can't play anymore. And also a gamer. I play a lot of games, guys. So yeah. So major parts of an automotive system, we have the engine, the under chassis, and transmission. But for my talk, I'll be focusing on the engine side because I have a limited time for this talk. I'll not be able to tackle the under chassis and the transmission side. So basic tools starter pack for you to become a mechanic. Okay. So first, you have to have OBD2 scanner, an analog or digital multimeter. So 3/8 drive socket set, ratchet set. We all know what a ratchet is. 8mm to 14mm socket, bent or straight long nose pliers, low profile floor jacks, 2 or 3 ton floor jacks will do, 2 pieces jack stands for safety purposes. And courage, yes, because practice with your own car first. Make sure it's still under warranty and paid insurance. A little bit of muscle, because you'll be tightening and loosening nuts and bolts. Okay, a little bit of memory. Okay, because you'll be disassembling some automotive parts, and a little bit of Google. Google is our friend. So here's a simple animation of how an engine works here on the right side. So the engine is the heart of your car. It is a complex machine built to convert heat from burning gas into the force that turns the road wheels. The chain reactions which achieve that objective set in motion by a spark, which ignites a mixture of petrol vapor and compressed air inside a momentarily sealed cylinder and causes it burn rapidly. That is why the machine is called an internal combustion engine. Okay? So the normal stoichiometric air-fuel mixture for a gasoline engine is 14.7:1. That's 14.7 grams of air and 1 gram of gasoline. So I'll not be too technical of the automotive terms. I'll try my best to translate it in layman's terms. So this talk is kind of different. So please bear with me, guys. It's 90% automotive. So everybody's welcome to learn new things. So this is an animation of some of the parts that are inside the engine. So I will not explain this in details because we have limited time, like I said. Requirements, your OBD2 scanner is your best friend. So everybody knows naman what a diagnostic tool looks like. So we have here a professional diagnostic tool, this big one. This costs a lot, around $6,000 plus. And this small one, you can purchase it for $200, $300. And the famous ELM327, this is a Bluetooth OBD2 diagnostic tool. You can buy this on eBay or anywhere. And of course, our two best friends here also, we consider them as our best friends also. An analog type multimeter and an electronic type multimeter. Okay, so your OBD2 scanner capabilities should have this: able to read engine RPM, able to read engine temperature, able to read battery voltage, or able to read ABS wheel speed sensor. This is optional. Able to read fuel trims and oxygen sensor voltage output. This one is the most important here. I'll discuss it along the way. Able to read misfire per cylinder. It's still optional, but still important. Yeah, diagnosing a car over the phone. In my 12 years of experience, to tell you honestly, guys, it's so hard to diagnose a car over the phone. It's better if we see it personally. Not only in the automotive industry, if you diagnose something, I mean, over the phone, it's kind of hard to be accurate. So, or if you can create your own OBD2 scanner, better. We have Sir J. Turla and our Car Hacking Village community for this. Okay, there's my legs. Credits to my legs and Sir J. Turla's legs. And check if all dashboard indicator lights are working. So before you try and experiment or hack your ECU, better check if all your indicator lights are 100% working. So this is an example. This is exclusive for Honda only. A VTEC engine. Does it have a sound, sir? Okay. Okay. There's my dirty finger there. There's my thumb. Sorry for that. As you can see here, all the indicator lights are illuminating. So that means all sensors are working. Okay, another press. Double check. Okay, all working. All right. Basic engine parts, there's intake manifold, engine block, cylinder head, the valves, the piston, the crankshaft. I love to explain this in detail, but we have limited time. Yeah, I'll just, you know. Okay, a typical engine, but don't worry guys, not all engines are designed this way. This is a more complicated design. So this is just for reference. ECU, we have a standalone engine control package, allows you the ability to bring out the best performance from your engine. You can tailor a solution to your specific set of requirements. Just like what I saw in the questions earlier, a certain guy has a Mega Squirt version 3. It will be tackled on the next. It will be tackled later on. It will be discussed by Sir Jeff Di Maano. So let's skip on this. Another basic engine parts, MAF sensor, mass airflow, throttle body, ignition coil pack, fuel injectors, spark plugs, ECT sensor, and oxygen sensor. These are the contents of my talk. The most common, easy to miss, and misleading whatsoever engine problems you encounter in our cars. Poor fuel economy due to very rich, lean mixture of air fuel. You will learn about rich and lean mixture later on. Hard starting, misfire or jerking, loss of power, erratic idle or RPM reading, delayed throttle response. This is dangerous also. Last but not the least, very poor maintenance. As you can see here, this black is like a bagoong in the Philippines, or shrimp sauce in English. This is very dangerous to your engine. So as it gets worse, in this case, my customer here was, it's like a year before she changed her engine's lubricants. So this is what happened to her engine. Luckily, the engine is still operating. And please, guys, don't don't buy cheaper oils or change your oil frequently. Okay. So to distinguish a good engine from a bad one is, of course, the left side, very poorly maintained, while on the right side it's properly maintained. Okay. So let's start. Mass airflow sensor. A mass airflow sensor is a sensor used to determine the mass flow rate of air entering a fuel-injected internal combustion engine. The air mass information is necessary for the engine control unit to balance and deliver the correct fuel mass to the engine. With the engine at idle, the MAP's parameter ID value should read anywhere from 2 to 7 grams at idle and rise to between 15 to 25 grams per second at 2,500 RPM, depending on engine size. There are different kinds of engine. There are 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders, and 8 cylinders. But let's focus on the 4 cylinder type, which is the most common type of engines. Most manufacturers provide specifications for airflow at idle. Some will provide specifications at several engine speeds. So symptoms of bad or failing MAF sensor. The engine is very hard to start or turn over. The engine stalls shortly after starting. The engine hesitates or drags while under load or idle. Okay, it's stumbling. The engine is like stumbling. Hesitation and jerking during acceleration. Of course, most of us experience that in our cars or in our relatives' cars. The engine hiccups. Yeah, it's like kangaroo. Excessive, rich, or lean idle. Okay, so here is a sample of mass airflow sensor. Guys, unfortunately, as much as I love to show it to you in person, but it's really hard for us to explain in words. We prefer we demo it live to you. So please bear with me. I mean, maybe next year we'll have the actual car. I'll voluntarily present my car so that you guys will easily understand the topic. So yeah, going back. So to determine if you have dirty map sensor, here you can see the element here is dirty. And if you clean it with electronic contact cleaner, it will look like this. And these hot wires tend to get dirt, okay? So because sometimes we forget to change our air filter, and then once it's dirty, it will suck in the dirt from the air filter, and this will get dirty. Once this wire gets dirty, you will have these symptoms. You will have this symptom: engine hiccups, hesitation, the engine stalls shortly after starting. So better check this. You can check this by disconnecting these two screws. I mean, it's very basic, and just disconnecting this connector. Okay, you can see this in your air filter box. Okay. Next is the throttle body drive by wire. A throttle body is a butterfly valve located between the air intake filter and the intake manifold. It regulates how much air go into the engine based on driver input through the gas pedal. As more air flows into the engine, it injects more fuel, thus allowing for more power. Symptoms of a bad or failing throttle body: dirt, grime, and carbon deposits on the inside of the housing. This one, grime can build up inside the housing, causing interruption in air fuel flow. So there'll be air restrictions if the butterfly gets dirty. This throttle plate here. Electrical problems, vacuum leaks, or an incorrectly adjusted throttle stop. Poor or high idle. Okay. Same with the map sensor again. So every time we diagnose these types of trouble, sometimes an experienced mechanic gets lost. Okay, so yeah, to clean this one, okay, you need to purchase a carb cleaner from your local automotive shop. It's very cheap. I think it's under $10 or $10 the most. Here you can see the light passing through the throttle plate. So this means that it's cleaned already. Yeah. Moving on to the ignition coil pack and spark plugs. It is an electronically controlled pack of ignition coils regulated by the car's computer and is used to create the spark for each engine cylinder spark plug. Generally speaking, coil packs are much more reliable than distributors because there are no moving parts and because they fire much less often than a distributor. Coil packs usually create a better spark, which in turn produce better combustion and horsepower in a car's engine. Okay, and the spark plug, most of us here knows what a spark plug is. So a spark plug is a device for delivering electric current from an ignition system to the combustion chamber of a spark ignition engine to ignite the compressed fuel-air mixture by an electric spark. So this guy here, the ignition coil pack, it gives electricity to the spark plug. So it's very basic. Symptoms of a bad or failing coil and spark plug: engine misfire again. Same with the MAF and the throttle body. So that's why it gets hard for the experienced mechanic to diagnose. Rough idle, again, very similar symptoms. Loss of power during acceleration, again. Check engine light, definitely. Hard start or no start at all. So the DTC means The DTC for this is P0350. So this is a generic data trouble code. It depends on the manufacturer. Some doesn't represent this code. Some are different, but we'll use the generic ones. So this is a simple animation for the spark plug inside the engine. So it's here. It's firing inside the combustion chamber. Okay. So I have here slides. I think this was taken last week. I had a customer. So this is a very simple trouble she got in her engine. It showed a check engine, and then she panicked. Why is the car so sluggish? Why is the car slow? Why is the car vibrating violently, and etc. etc. So I'm gonna play 4 slides, I think, or 5 slides from here. These are short clips. There we go. There's a check engine there. I'm using a $200 diagnostic tool that you can purchase from iCarSoft. This is a good diagnostic tool to start with. For beginners and for experience, this is good. This is good diagnostic tool. I'm sure you can afford it, guys. Okay, there we go. There's the DTC P0351 ignition coil A primary secondary circuit. So I already know where the trouble is because of this last digit, which is 1. So that's cylinder 1 ignition coil pack. Okay, guys. So take down notes if you want. If it's P0352, that's cylinder number 2. So in this system, we have 4 cylinders. So up to P0354. So that's the last cylinder, the 4. Okay, next. Of course, disconnect the battery in this short clip. Okay, let's just play it. I'm gonna disconnect the battery here. Okay, I'm still inside the car. I don't know where I am. Oh, there we go. Okay, before you service your car, make sure to put a mattress here, servicing mattress, to prevent dents to the front bumpers. So you can see here, let's do it professionally. Wear gloves. If you have latex, the better. It's thinner. Okay. The negative terminal should not make contact with the positive. It will fry the ECU and other electrical components. Okay, so this is the very basics, guys. You can also do this with your car. Okay, hello there. Okay, there we go. There's the ratchet, there's the extension bar, and there's the 10 millimeter socket. Okay, okay. So we're working on smaller bolts. So let me pause. Let me give you a tip. You don't need to use brute force when loosening up a nut or bolt, because it's just a 10 millimeter. You just need to slap your ratchet. Look at my, there you go. You slap it like that. You don't need to use brute force attack. Okay. Okay, there we go. Turn those little ones. Okay. Okay. Turn it. All right. Again, when removing this plastic cover, you don't need brute force attack. Just need to shake and bake a little. Okay, there we go. All right. Now you're a mechanic. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding. Next is visual inspection of the problem or the part that we're gonna tackle. Oops. I'm gonna lower the volume. I don't know if you can hear it also. Okay, I'm just wiping it clean, removing the dirt. Okay, check the oil level. Right, very standard operating procedure, SOP. Okay, check the engine oil. If she put a diesel engine oil or gasoline engine oil, oh, I smelled it. I don't know why I smelled it. No, just kidding. You need to smell it to distinguish the oil. Okay. You disconnect the, yeah, disconnect the ignition coil pack. Okay. As you can see here, I'm kind of having a hard time disconnecting it because the car has, I think it's first time to be disconnected since it was made. So we call it virgin sockets. All right, I'm having a hard time there. I don't know why. All right, there you go, boy. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. All right, there we go. I've disconnected it. At this moment, it's very awkward because the owner is already laughing at me while I'm recording this. So you know, and she's a girl, so sometimes I get you know, it's pretty awkward when someone's watching you. All right. Okay, don't need to brute force those small nuts and bolts. All right. A little turn there. Imagine if we are in Taal Vista right now, guys. You will get the chance to do this also. After I demo it, and then there will be a chance that you will do this also in my car and Sir Jeff's car. So we are prepared naman if you damage it or accidentally damage it. So not a problem. We can repair it on spot. All right, there we go. Removing it. Okay. There we go, little guy. Oh, what are you doing now? And next step is to check the spark plugs first. So they're like brothers and sisters, the ignition coil pack and the spark plugs, okay? So if you get a trouble that is related to ignition coil packs, might as well check the spark plugs. Okay, there you need a little slap again because it's a spark plug. Okay, there we go. I hope you guys can hear me properly because my internet is acting weird lately. Okay, there we go. I'm trying to show it. Oh my goodness, my focusing skills is not that good. I'm sorry for that. Okay. Ah, the next step is spark test. So in this clip, I'll be switching on the ignition and start the car. Okay, I started the car. I don't know if does it have a sound. Is it Avasa? Can you hear it, guys? The video, the clip? Okay. I'm trying to lift the ignition coil pack here. Okay. You see the engine did not respond while I'm lifting the coil pack. When lifting this coil packs, you need, the engine should stumble, should react. If it does not react, meaning the ignition coil pack is not working, is not functioning. Okay, it's not firing. It's not firing a spark. It's not giving spark to the spark plugs. Okay, so I lifted the second cylinder coil packs there. The engine stumbled. The third one there, it reacted. It vibrated. So the coil pack 2, coil pack 3 is good. It's working. But the first one is not. So here, again, it reacted. Okay, so this one is the culprit, as the scanner told us. So P0351. Okay, so we're already there. I may say it's already 90% isolated already. So let's move to the DTC erase. So I already bought the brand new ignition coil pack, and I already installed it in the car, and I already started it. Now I'm about to erase the data trouble code here. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's, oops. Sorry guys. There's the check engine. I love to show this to you live, not just the P0351. Let's give the car all the troubles, and then we solve it live. But unfortunately, because of the lockdown, we can't do that. So yeah, I just made this video, a sample video. Very basic, guys. You can do this. You can all do this. Don't be afraid. You're not gonna break anything. You're not gonna break your ECU. So this is just a simple misfire code. Okay. All right. So I've already erased it. There we go. The engine is running. Yeah. Okay. Then read codes again. The vehicle has no fault codes already. It's already resolved, and the customer is gonna pay me now. That's the greatest part of it. Next is fuel injectors. The purpose of the fuel injection system is to deliver fuel into the engine cylinders while precisely controlling the injection timing, fuel atomization, and other parameters. So yeah, this acts as the syringe for fuel. So symptoms of bad or failing fuel injectors: hard start, again, poor engine idle, again, poor performance, poor emission, engine does not reach full RPM, okay, rough engine performance, surging, kajot or bucking, smoke from tailpipe, so white smoke, increased fuel consumption. Increased fuel consumption in terms of if your fuel injectors are failing, it tends to stay open, and inject fuel even if the engine is shut off already. So there are instances that it will flood the cylinder. It will really damage your car if it happens. So it happens a lot if you don't take care of your fuel injectors. Okay. So the generic DTC for that is P0170. Okay. Here's a sample of it. Right. So a simple animation of a fuel injector inside an engine. So next is engine coolant temperature sensor and thermostat. So coolant temperature sensors are used by the fuel management system to detect the engine's operating temperature. Depending on the sensor information, the control units adapts the injection time and firing angle to the operating conditions. The sensor is a temperature sensor with a negative temperature coefficient. A coolant temperature sensor, CTS, is used to measure the temperature of the coolant mix in the coolant system, giving an indication of how much heat the engine is giving off. Symptoms of a bad or failing ECT sensor: poor fuel economy, because, I'm gonna explain it later. Stuck on rich mixture, black smoke from engine, overheating engine, check engine light comes on. Okay, so the generic DTC for this is P0118. So it gets stuck in rich mixture because some defective ECT sensor, they give false information to the computer box. They tell the computer box that the engine is still on a cold start, even if your engine is already running an hour ago. It's stuck in the, let's say, 36 degrees temperature reading. So the engine tends to, be on stock rich mixture. What I mean in rich mixture, it gives additional fuel to the engine. We'll discuss about it later. Okay, so let's use smoke, puff the magic dragon. There's another way to determine your engine's health conditions. So if you see a blue-gray smoke, that's caused by oil mixing inside together with the air and fuel. So there's a law that it should be air and fuel mixture only. So if there's a third party, which is the oil, if it gets into the combustion chamber also, it will cause a blue-gray smoke. So it's very it will damage your engine soon enough. White-gray smoke caused by a leaking head gasket. Like I said, it should be air and fuel. But in this case, if you see a gray smoke or whitish smoke, coolant is already mixing in the engine. So it's also dangerous. Black smoke caused by a rich fuel mixture. Okay, so a rich fuel mixture, like I said, additional fuel. So if you see black smoke coming from your tailpipes, it means it's already burning fuel above average. Okay. Oxygen sensors. Now, this part is I'll say it's an advanced diagnostic topic, but I'll try and show it to you that you can also do it. Oxygen sensors are a critical component of the fuel and emission systems because they monitor the amount of oxygen in the exhaust and transmit that information to the engine computer, which adjusts the air to fuel ratio accordingly. Okay? If the oxygen sensor is going bad, the fuel delivery and fuel combustion systems will be thrown off. If a bad oxygen sensor disrupts the air to fuel ratio mixture, or too much fuel is injected into the engine, your vehicle's gas mileage will be reduced. Symptoms of a bad or failing O2 sensors: poor fuel economy. Again, check engine light comes on, rough idle, hard start, accelerator pedal, delay response, or misfire. This one is very tricky, guys. The oxygen sensors. Sometimes it doesn't give a check engine light. Sometimes it will keep the computer on the rich mixture, so it will give false information to the computer. If it's stuck on rich mixture, what will happen is you'll have a poor fuel economy. So the DTC for this is P0420. So a small illustration here of where to find these sensors. Commonly, it is found here before the catalytic converter. So if you see your exhaust manifold, there's like a lollipop or a small canister injected in the exhaust manifold, and that's the oxygen sensors. What goes around comes around, or what we call in the automotive diagnostic is the Bermuda Triangle. So this is the O2 sensor. It gives signal to the computer, and then the computer will adjust injector pulse width based on calculated values, including fuel trims, also adjust spark timing and VCT. Okay, so sprays fuel pulse width depends on computer instruction. So let's assume the oxygen sensor gives, let's say, more, let's say less air to the computer box. What will happen is the computer box will report to the fuel injector. The computer will send a signal that the oxygen sensor is not reporting more air. Let's say it reported less air. So what the injector will do is compensate for it. So the injector will spray an additional amount of gasoline or fuel into the combustion chamber, and so on. So it's a sample of that cycle. So auto sensor voltage reading. Okay, there's an oxygen sensor will typically generate up to about 0.9 volts when the fuel mixture is rich, and there is little unburned oxygen in the exhaust when the mixture is lean. The sensor's output voltage will drop down to about 0.1 volts. So through oxygen sensor reading, guys, it really helps a lot of diagnostics. I mean, if you can master this auto sensor reading, you will have the advantage of isolating a misfire symptoms. Okay, so yeah, there's a sample of auto sensor voltage reading here. Unfortunately, I can't show an animated version of this. It oscillates. It has an oscillation here. So, what is that? I don't know. I can hear chats. Okay. So here is a cold start warm-up phase. So I'm gonna play a sample video again on how to read an oxygen sensor. Okay. Oh, the engine is very cold, so it's a cold start. 36 degrees. The normal operating temperature should be 95 degrees up to 100. Okay. Sir Jamie, are you there? Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we're here.
Okay. Is the video
Don't worry, we're
playing,
here.
Sir Jamie?
Yes, it is. We could see
Okay,
it
thank
from
you,
here.
Sir Jamie. Okay, Sir Jamie, thank you. So as you can see here, the voltage reading, it plays from 0.1 to 0.9 at the minimum. Okay, I don't know why I clicked the right button there. Sorry for the poor video here. Okay, what am I checking here? Okay, let's go back to the, wait, okay. Wait, sir. All right. So let's just focus here, the numbers here. Okay. So the O2 sensor reading should be between 0.1, 0.9, but I advise a good oxygen sensor reading is between, as long as it doesn't reach 1 volt, 1.0 and above reading, it means it's abnormal. There's something wrong with your oxygen sensor when this value reaches 1, which is 1 volt. So in this situation, it's pretty normal. Okay, take note of that, guys. If it shoots up 1.0 volt, there's something wrong with it. Better check the electricals first, the connectors, or if all else fails, your O2 sensor is already defective. Okay. So road test. In this clip, I think I'm having a hard time recording it while driving, recording while driving. Don't try this at home. Okay. So here we can see the voltage reading of the oxygen sensor, 0.1, 0.8. It's oscillating. Let's just imagine it's oscillating. Okay, hello there, Mr. Nissan and McDonald's. All right. Okay. So it's oscillating and it's not stuck on a certain value. So if it's stuck in, let's say it's stuck in 0.740 volts, that means the computer isn't getting any information from your oxygen sensor. And what will happen if your oxygen sensor is already defective? Like I said, in my experience, in my customer's experience, there's an instance, a super delayed throttle response. What I mean is, she stepped on the gas pedal for about 3 to 5 seconds, and then that's just the time when the engine already responded. So there's a 5-second delay. Imagine that if you're in an uphill environment and your car isn't responding, what will happen is the tendency you will crash the car behind you. So yeah, I'll discuss it in detail next time maybe. So I'll just continue the video. Oh, let's talk about the sudden unintended acceleration, the SUA issue next time in my if if we still have time. Okay, there we go. It's let's imagine it's oscillating. It's yeah. Okay, so it's functioning. Our auto sensors are good. Okay, next topic alongside oxygen sensors, the fuel trims. So there are two types, short-term and long-term. The short-term fuel trim refers to immediate changes in fuel occurring several times per second. The long-term are driven by the short-term fuel trims. So let's just say the long-term is just the average. It's the total of the short terms. Okay. Let's not complicate the definition. Long-term refers to changes in short-term, but averaged over a longer period of time. So what is the normal reading? Assuming that the engine is in excellent mechanical condition and that all sensors implicated in metering both intake, air, and fuel, short-term fuel trim values should generally be between positive 10, here in our sample table here, positive 10, and negative 10 when the engine is running at a steady speed. So it should play around minus 10, that means minus 10 subtracting fuel, and between plus 10, which is adding fuel. So it really plays there. It doesn't steady here, steady on a certain number. So how to interpret if it's on rich mix or lean mix? If it's on rich mix, it adds fuel here. If it's on lean mix, it subtracts fuel. Okay? So that's the importance of knowing how to read fuel trims. So there's a short video of this. I'll just play it for you guys and discuss a little bit of the fuel trims. Okay. I think it's not clear enough here. Okay. Oh, why am I in ignition timing advance? Wait, guys. There we go. Alongside the fuel trim reading is, of course, our good friend oxygen sensor. So the rule here is you play it between -10 and +10. So the numbers are good, showing good results. It doesn't exceed the average. Okay, -5 over there. Short term. Okay, what am I doing here? Okay. All right, +3. And yeah. So we have a good fuel trim readings. I increased the RPM to 2000. Oh, make sure you are in neutral, guys. Make sure you are in neutral or park before you accelerate those pedals. Okay, so the long term is, the average is on lean side, which is the -4.7%. So it's subtracting a 4.7% in total fuel consumption. Okay? So matipid, medyo tumipid. Yeah, in Filipino, tumipid. So, okay. So here's a graphical view, point of view. Oh, so this clip has the oscillation sample. Let's just imagine this is an oscillation waveform. The oxygen sensor is the red ones, so it's oscillating normally. It doesn't get stuck here in 0.6 to 0.9 or 1.0 volt. So it's pretty normal. It's oscillating between 0.1 and 0.9. And our short fuel trim, the black lines here, are making Super Mario stairs. So meaning it's operating normally. Okay. So yeah, the magic number is -10 and +10. So it doesn't exceed those numbers. So meaning it's all good. Your fuel system is good. Fuel filters are clean. Correct fuel. Everything is normal. Okay. Oh, I saw a -7 there. Wait, I think I saw something there. Oh, there's a -7. So, I better check it out later or tomorrow. I missed that one. Okay, so that's it, guys. You can do it. Happy wrenching. I hope you learned a thing or two in this talk. It's kind of different from our cybersec talks, but it's also part of the automotive technology. So, yeah, you can do it. Happy wrenching, guys. Thank you to Sir J. Turla, Sir Dax, Sir Jamie for hosting and for inviting us here in Rootcon 14. So, thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jay, for providing us a walkthrough on how our car functions. And well, I guess the positive takeaway from this talk would be, at least for my end, my opinion would be learning how it works. So would be able to know what would be the manifestation of the canvas hacking, or what would be the results of the canvas hacking that we're going to perform. Say flooding the
Yes.
engine. How would we know that we're flooding the engine? How would we know whether it's working or not? Definitely, it all boils down to what would manifest if ever we input those codes
Yeah.
or those canvas signals. So thank you for helping us to understand the basic functions and the fundamentals of how a car or a combustion engine functions. Are really, really helpful.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
To add that as well, as what you can see, there's an OBD2 scanner that JCell is actually presented. If you hook it up with another wire and you have your own canvas tool that allows you to dump the data in real time, you can actually reverse engineer what's being thrown by the OBD2 scanners. You can actually do a man-in-the-middle attack. And in fact, from what you can see from the presentation that Jay Salis or Julian Salis have given, you get to know the attack surfaces of um, the car itself as well, and you might get an idea on how to fix some of the things that you're gonna do with your car. So that's why some people may not see it as related to cybersecurity, but as a car hacker myself, I see it that it's really it touches um, not just the tip of an iceberg of what car hacking is, but unleash some of the things that you do for car hacking.
All right. Thank you for that,
Yeah,
Sir Jay and Sir
I'm
Jamie.
totally with you on that one, Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jay says, for providing the talk. Too much thought were put into it. We really appreciate the hard work. All right, so I know we're on. We've been over for about 20 minutes, but no worries about that. I'd move on forward with our next speaker if you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm cutting a bit of the airtime here. All right, so let me properly introduce our next speaker. Uh, he is an experienced cartooner and enthusiast for more than 10 years. He is also a computer engineer and also an aircraft mechanic. Hopefully, he's not putting wings on our cars after his talk. But looking forward to this. It sounds very interesting. He's currently a cybersecurity consultant. His interests are hardware hacking and IoT and OT, over OT and penetration testing. So he's been to Rootcon, I believe, last year, wherein he was able to find Jay Turla in the car hacking village. And here comes him. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Jeff D. Jeff D, could you put yourself in unmute yourself?
Thank you, Sir Jamie. Thank you, Sir Jay Turla. So, should I begin my presentation, or
Yes, please,
okay?
please do so.
So, everyone, do you see me, Sir Jay Turla? Do you see my screen, Sir Jamie?
Yes, the screen is clear.
Okay, just hold on. Oh, wait, oh, wait. Oh, wait, I'm having problem. Hold on. Hold. Hold on, guys. Uh, okay. Okay. Hello everyone. Do you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So let's begin. So I am Jeff D of GCD Tune. So I've been tuning for around more than 10 years. So uh, I do car racing, drag racing, circuit racing. Yeah. So that's it. So let's begin. So a modern way how to tweak your ride. So before as you can see here, I mean, nowadays, all vehicles and motorcycles are switching to electronic fuel injected. They want to achieve more power and better fuel efficiency. Not like the carburetor. The carburetor contains jet that will push gas into a combustion chamber, and the amount of fuel that can be flowed through the jets depend completely on the amount of air that can be pulled into a carburetor venture. So that's the old traditional carburetor. Now, almost all of the cars are running in the EFI. So, so what does the EFI? What does the EFI fuel injection? Uh, the fuel injection is a system of compressed of a complex of set of electronic sensors. The fuel supply for the here in these slides, we have numbers. So the one is the fuel pressure, which monitors the pressure of the fuel rail, and then two is the fuel rail, which is a fuel rail is a tubing which takes fuel to the injector. And the third item here, the fuel injectors. So, and the fourth item is the ECU, or the uh, electronic control ECM or ECU, or the electronic control module or unit. So, fifth, we have the electronic fuel pump. So it goes like this: from the fuel tank, uh, the 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 sorry, the fuel pump drives the fuel going to the fuel rail, while uh, while the fuel pressure monitors the pressure of the fuel inside the fuel rail. Then the ECU sends signals to the injector on how amount of fuel it will be injected to the combustion chamber. It works like that. So, okay, let's go to the next slide. So our next slide is the electronic computer unit. So the ECU inputs from the vehicle sensors like crankshaft sensors and camshaft sensors compute the information using program that has been installed into the ECU. So here, the ECU controls the amount of fuel to be sprayed to the injectors. The ECU also knows what is happening on the car. If there is a problem, a check engine light will appear on the dashboard. So if one of the sensors are not working, the check engine light will appear on the dash panel. So how we gonna check this one? If you put the key on the